So, apparently 2,500 protests are happening across America this Saturday. And the slogan is, no kings. Which is cute, except the guy they're protesting already lives in a golden tower with his name on it in giant letters. I think we missed that memo. But seriously, folks, October 18th is No Kings Day. Over 2,500 rallies across all 50 states. They're expecting millions of people. And I'm thinking, Americans couldn't agree on whether pineapple belongs on pizza, but now we're organizing 2,500 simultaneous events? The logistics alone! Do you know how hard it is to get 5 friends to agree on a restaurant? These people coordinated rallies in every state. Someone made a spreadsheet. Someone sent calendar invites. There were reply all emails. And the name No Kings. Very revolutionary. Very 1,776. I love it. Except it's 2025, and we're not fighting King George III anymore. We're fighting a guy who tweets at 3 a.m. about crowd sizes. King George never had to deal with that. He just wore a wig and called it a day. The movement says they're following the 3.5% rule. Apparently, if 3.5% of the population protests peacefully, regime change becomes inevitable. So they did the math. They're not just angry, they're statistical. That's the most American thing I've ever heard. We're not just protesting, we have PIE charts. And you know what? June's protests had 5 million people. That's like the population of New Zealand. Imagine an entire country just showing up to say, nah, we're good. Boston had 1 million people alone because the protest coincided with their Pride Festival. So you had people there for democracy and people there for glitter. It was the most fabulously political day in American history. Now, who's behind this? Oh, just 200 organizations. Casual. The ACLU, teacher unions, the Service Employees International Union. Basically, everyone who's ever been in a meeting that could have been an email has joined forces. This is the Avengers of activism, except instead of fighting Thanos, they're fighting executive orders. And there's this guy, George Conway, Trump critic, right? His group is called Home of the Brave, and they dropped $1 million on ads for this protest. $1 million on protest ads! That's not grassroots, that's AstroTurf with a premium warranty. That's advertising resistance like it's the new iPhone. Introducing Democracy 2. Now with more civil liberties. They're even handing out Know Your Rights cards at the protests. Which is smart. Because nothing says peaceful demonstration like a laminated pocket guide. It's like a Cliff's Notes for not getting arrested. Chapter 3. What to do when the tear gas arrives. And they're training safety marshals. Marshals! At protests! When I was younger, protests were just people yelling and hoping for the best. Now there's staff. There's infrastructure. Someone's got a clipboard and a walkie-talkie. It's like Coachella, but with more political science degrees. But here's where it gets fun. The Republicans are mad. House Speaker Mike Johnson, great name for a guy who sounds like he's never had fun, calls it the Hate America Rally. Hate America Rally. Because nothing says you hate America like exercising your First Amendment rights. That's literally in the Constitution. It's not a bug, Mike. It's a feature. He also said Democrats are selling t-shirts for the protest. And I'm like, yeah, of course they are. You think activism runs on hopes and dreams? They need merch. Revolution costs money. Do you know how much a good screen printing setup costs? Plus, have you seen protest t-shirts? They're always weirdly comfortable. Like, I don't agree with your cause, but that's a quality cotton blend. Then there's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. 'Cause nothing says man of the people like a Treasury Secretary. He says, no kings means no paychecks and no government. What? That doesn't even make sense. It's like he put random words in a hat and pulled them out. No kings means no paychecks? Sir, protests don't shut down the government. The government shuts down the government. You can't blame protesters for your budget problems. That's like blaming your mechanic because you forgot to put gas in the car. And he said this during an actual government shutdown. The government is already shut down. The protesters didn't do that. You did that. Own it. But here's my favorite part. The protests are happening amid a government shutdown, immigration raids, and federal troops deployed in U.S. cities. So let me get this straight. The government's shut down, troops are in the streets, ICE is doing raids, and Republicans are calling the protesters anti-American? I'm sorry, what year is this? Are we living in a dystopian novel nobody told me about? Because last I checked, deploying troops domestically is page 1 of the Things Democracies Don't Do handbook. And the coalition's response is perfect. They said, they're running out of excuses for keeping the government shut down, which is polite. If someone blamed ME for their mess while I'm holding a protest sign in the rain, I'd be way less nice. The movement's whole thing is power belongs to the people, not to rulers. Which sounds great. Very inspiring. But also, guys, we vote for these people. We gave them the power. It's not like they showed up with a crown one day and said, I'm in charge now. Well, okay. One of them does have a golden penthouse and calls himself a very stable genius. But that's different. Look, here's the thing. Whether you agree with the protests or not, you got to admit this is the most organized mass movement I've ever seen. 2,500 locations, all 50 states. Maps, marshals, know your rights cards, million-dollar ad campaigns. These people are more coordinated than my family trying to take a group photo at Thanksgiving. And honestly, in a weird way, it's kind of beautiful. Millions of people saying, hey, we don't like where this is going. That's democracy, baby. Messy, loud, inconvenient democracy. It's not supposed to be clean. It's not supposed to be quiet. The Founding Fathers didn't politely ask King George to leave. They threw tea in a harbor. They were dramatic. They wrote essays about it. So, this Saturday, whether you're protesting, counter-protesting, or just trying to avoid traffic, remember, we're all just trying to figure this out. Some people make spreadsheets, some people make signs, some people make jokes about it on stage. Me, I'm just glad nobody's throwing tea anymore. That stuff's expensive. Thank you, you've been amazing. Good night.